Good morning, one and all. In today's class, we'll discuss about transmission system. This is a syllabus: clutches, principal, type, cone clutch, single plate clutch, multi plate clutch, magnetic and centrifugal clutches, fluid flywheel clutches, and next is gearbox, gearbox types, sliding mesh, constant mesh, synchrono mesh gearboxes, epicyclic gearbox, overdrive, torque converter, propeller shaft, Hotchkiss drive, torque tube drive, universal joint, differential, rear axis types, and wheels and tires. So these things we are going to discuss in this class. First is definition of a clutch. A clutch is a mechanical device which engages and disengages power transmission, especially from the driving shaft to driven shaft. In the simple applications, clutches connect and disconnect two rotating shafts. So generally, a engine will have a driving shaft, and driven shaft is towards the rear wheels. Now, uh, the clutch is a component which we have in between the gearbox and the engine, which engages and disengages both the shafts, because we want to vary the gear ratios depending on the speed and torque requirements. And in order to vary this gear ratios, we have to engage and disengage the shafts. And clutch is a component which we have at the junction between the engine and the gearbox for engaging and disengaging the shafts. And now if we look at this figure, this is the accelerator and this is the brake and this is the clutch, which we generally find near the driver's seat. So principle of clutch, the principle behind working of clutch is that no torque or power get transmitted until both the friction plates touch each other. One friction plate is bolted to flywheel and the other is movable over the crankshaft. It means there will be frictional lining for both the plates, and only if these both are in contact with each other, the power transmission will take place. If not, the power transmission will not take place. So this is the first type of clutch, which is called as cone clutch. So this is the outer cone and this is the inner cone, and the black color one here are the frictional lining. So this is the driving shaft. When this internal clutches, internal cones come in contact with each other, the motion from driving shaft will be transmitted to driven shaft. If these two got disengaged, it means when we are pressing the pedal, the spring will get contracted and this inner cone will move back. As a result, the contact between the driving shaft and driven shaft will be withdrawn. So this is how the cone clutch will work. Next one is single plate clutch. In case of single plate clutch, we have only one plate, but in case of multi plate clutches, we have n number of plates. So here in case of single plate clutch, this is the plate with frictional lining. This is a plate with frictional lining, and this is a flywheel, this is the engine shaft, and this is the clutch shaft. Now when we press the pedal, this fulcrum will move back. As a result, the flywheel and the means the driving shaft and driven shaft will get disengaged here. And now when we remove the pedal from the when we remove the leg from the pedal, now the spring will, because of the spring action, this both flywheel and the fulcrum, this plate, pressure plate, will come in contact with each other. So this is how the single plate clutch will move. So until we have a friction between both the plates, the driving shaft and driven shaft will not start um, rotating. It means no power transmission will take place between the driving shaft and the driven shaft. Next one is multi-plate clutches. In case of multi-plate clutches, we have n number of clutches. See here in the figure, we have three different types of gears. So here this black color one is the frictional lining, this is the spring, this is the driving shaft, this is the engine shaft, these are the disc plate, and this is flywheel. And so now here, uh, now this driving shaft is in contact with the driven shaft because of the friction which is present here. When we press this pedal, now this will slightly move from here, and hence there will be no contact between the flywheel and the driving shaft, and so it will get disengaged and we can change the gears. So this is how multi-plate clutch will work. And next one is magnetic clutch. Here there are two windings. This is the one winding and here is another winding. So this is the flywheel, this is the engine shaft, this is pressure plate, these are the frictional linings, this is the clutch plate and this is the clutch shaft, these are the splines. So now what happens is when we pass electricity, these two windings will get magnetized and this pressure plate will start moving forward. As a result, there will be a friction because of the friction between flywheel and this pressure plate. These both will start moving with respect to each other. So the power transmission will take place from engine shaft to the clutch shaft. And once the winding has been, means if once the electricity which we are passing here has been withdrawn, so the magnetic field will also go and hence these two will get disengaged. So this is how the magnetic clutches will work. Next one is centrifugal clutches. In case of centrifugal clutches, this is the driving shaft and this is the driven shaft. Here we'll be having the shoes and this is a red color one is a frictional lining. So now when the driving shaft starts rotating, this shoes will go and touch the flywheel. So with the increasing of speed of the engine, this will also operate accordingly. So this will go and touch the flywheel. As a result, the motion from the driving shaft will get transferred to the driven shaft. So this is about centrifugal clutch. And next one is fluid flywheel clutch. So here what happens is this is a turbine, this is the drive motor. So here you have another pump, this is the crankshaft. So it means this is the driving shaft and this is the driven shaft. So now here what happens is fluid, you'll have oil inside and because of oil rotation in one of the boxes here, the fluid will enter into another box also. As a result, the friction will get created between both the shafts and it will start rotating. It means if crankshaft is rotating like this, means if it is rotating, then this fluid which is present here will also make this shaft, that means if driving shaft is rotating, the driven shaft will also rotate as the uh, oil is creating friction between both of them. So this is how fluid flywheel clutch will work. Next one is a gearbox. A gearbox is a system of gears in an engine or vehicle which act as power transmission system and provides control application of power. So here, depending upon the torque requirement and the speed requirement, we change the gears. The first one is sliding mesh gearbox. In case of sliding mesh gearbox, this is the input shaft, this is the counter shaft and this is the output shaft. So now initially these two will be in contact for transmission of power from input shaft to the lay shaft. It means counter shaft. So now depending upon the requirement, we move this gears so that the power transmission will go to the outer shaft. So here if you want to go for the first gear, then this bigger wheel will come in contact with the smaller gear and these two will get engaged here. As a result, the power transmission will take place from this shaft to this shaft. So the same power will get to the outside shaft. Next one is for the second gear, this will come in contact with the same shaft here and mm, the power transmission will take place. And next one is for the third gear, this gear will come in contact with this gear at the bottom and third gear you will get the third gear. Now if you want to rotate the output shaft with higher speed, then you can directly engage that output shaft with the input shaft. And now if you want to go for reverse gear, then this larger gear will come in contact with this last gear and here you will have an idler gear so that it will rotate in opposite direction. So this is how sliding mesh gearbox will work. Next one is constant mesh gearbox. The name itself indicates that there will be a constant meshing between the gears instead of slipping here and there. This is the clutch shaft, this is the counter shaft, these are the dog clutches, this is reverse gear and this is the main shaft. So here what happens is every gear will be in contact with every gear, it will be continuously rotating. Now depending upon our requirement, what we do is we just move this dog clutches. So depending upon the movement of the dog clutches, the shaft will start moving. It means, see, the power transmission will take place from the clutch shaft to the counter shaft. And now if this gear is in contact with this gear, now the power transmission will take place from this shaft to this shaft to the dog clutch, and as a result the main shaft will start moving because you have splines over the main shaft. So this is how the constant mesh gearbox will work. And next one is synchronous mesh gearbox. Here also the synchronous mesh will also have the same mechanism. The device here which is in the middle is called as synchronous device. So this and this are the synchronous devices. This is the driving shaft and this is the driven shaft. Now depending upon the motion which we require, the synchronous devices will be moved left and right, and as it comes in contact with this flywheels, as and they are connected to the main shaft, as a synchronous mesh rotates, the power transmission will take place from these gears to synchronous device, and as a result the main shaft will start rotating. So this is how the synchronous mesh gearbox will work. Next one is epicyclic gearbox. The gear which is in the middle is called as sun gear, and the gear beside it is a planetary gear, and the gear which is outside is called as ring gear. So when sun gear starts rotating, the planetary gear will rotate, and as a result the epicyclic gear means the planetary gear will also start rotating. So here what happens is there will be increase in the torque ratios. So generally this epicyclic gearbox is used in the cars where you want an automatic transmission. Next one is overdrive. Overdrive is used for increasing the speed. Generally we get certain speed from the engine. We either use the same speed or else we decrease the speed, but this overdrive is to increase the speed. Means we cannot increase the speed of engine, but we can increase the speed that we are transmitting to the wheels. So here we use a epicyclic gear train system. The middle one is a sun gear, this one is a planetary gear, and the outer one is a ring gear. The ring gear is connected to the output shaft, and when this sun gear is rotating, the transmission will take place from sun gear to planetary gear to ring gear. As a result, the output shaft will rotate and power transmission means the speed will be increased than the speed of the engine. Hmm. So here is a Hotchkiss drive. Hotchkiss drive is the drive which we generally see in our automobiles. This is the wheel. This is the springs fitted to a frame, and this is the universal joint. This is the gearbox from which the power transmission will take place from gearbox to the wheels. This is the propeller shaft used for transmitting the motion. So here the propeller shaft should rotate continuously, and for easy rotation of this propeller shaft we will have the universal joints here. One universal joint here and one universal joint here. So now when your vehicle is making a vertical motion, it means up and down motion, because of the knuckle joints present here, this wheel will easily move up and down. So this is how the Hotchkiss drive is designed. Next one is torque tube drive. Hotchkiss drive and torque tube drive are almost similar, but the thing is the only difference is in case of Hotchkiss drive we used two universal joints here and here, but here in case of torque tube drive we don't use two universal joints. So here you have a knuckle joint and here you have a ball and pinion joint like this. And so now whenever you have an up and down motion, this ball will move within the shaft up and down. So this is torque tube drive. Next one is a differential. Differential is a device which is used for uh, moving the rear wheels of your vehicle at different speeds. For example, if you are taking a turn, if it is a right turn, then what happens is the tires at your right side of your vehicle should make a smaller radius, and the tires which are at the left side of your vehicle should make a larger radius. So here what happens is the inner wheel should move with less speed and outer wheel should move with more speed. So here what happens is in case of so generally what happens is you cannot make two things to move at two different speeds. So differential is the device which help us to make the inner wheels to rotate at smaller velocity and the outer wheels to rotate at larger velocity. So these differentials are of three types. Open differential. Open differential is what allows the wheels to turn at different speeds. The vast majority of rear wheel drives can have open differential. This means that rear wheels can spin independently of each other. It means the rear wheels of the vehicle will move independently of each other. It means the speed of right side wheel will not affect the speed of left side wheel. So it will move at different speeds. But the thing is, if your vehicle is on a slippery road, um, and if one side of the tire is continuously rotating on the slippery wheel, and another side is moving forward, then it creates disturbance. It means this is a unsafe drive for the driver. For that, to eliminate this limitation, we have gone for locking differential and limited speed differential. Locking differential is it will lock the speed of both the tires which are at the back. And in case of limited slip differential is it will control the speeds. It means it don't just allow both the speeds to rotate at different speed, both the tires to rotate at different speeds, but it will maintain some independency. At the same time it controls the speed, both the things. It means it sometimes it will lock and sometimes it will stop. It will see that there is a minimum difference between the speeds of both the tires, wheels. Next one is wheel and tire. A wheel is a round object with a hub and an axle. A tire is a rubber part of the wheel that grips the road. Wheels are for rolling and tires are for traction. So this is about wheel and tires. So this is first part of your unit 3. In the next uh, videos, we'll learn the rest part of your unit 3. Thank you for listening.